When you're reading the Psalms and you see a claim to be righteous or a description that someone else is righteous, as a Christian, there's a natural assumption when you see the word righteous, your mind goes to, I'm not righteous, but Jesus is righteous, and that righteousness that did not belong to me has been given to me by the Father, and that is why I'm saved, and that is why he looks at me with delight, because he sees the righteousness of Christ. And it's really encouraging that that's our first thought, but it is not always what that word means. In fact, it's very often not what it means in the Psalms. In the Psalms, it means often what you would mean in court, in a court of law, if you heard the words, not guilty. So if you watched a courtroom, how do you plead? And the person says, not guilty. You don't come away thinking, oh, he has said that he has never done anything wrong in his life. No, he's saying, as charged, not guilty. I might be a car thief, but I didn't steal that car, and I didn't break into your house, which is the issue before me. So often David is showing us what happens when you're falsely accused. And one of the really important lessons is that God does not play favorites. He's the perfect judge. So if you're going to ask God for mercy, great, but you don't get to ask God for justice and ask him to take your side when you're guilty. It doesn't work. Someone else says you've sinned against them. If you have, you can't expect that God is going to get you out of the trouble that you have earned. So a really great place to see this is Psalm 7, where the psalm begins with, save me, O God, lest my enemy tear me apart like a lion. My enemy is pursuing me. They're trying to kill me. 3 verses later, he prays, let the enemy catch me. Let them pursue and overtake and trample my life to the ground. So what is David asking for? Is he asking to be rescued from the enemy? Or is he asking for the enemy to kill him? And the verse I've missed out in between is, if. If I have done this, if there is injustice in my hands, if I have gone to war against the one who is at peace with me, then let the enemy catch me and kill me because they're right. I've earned it. So David is teaching us there that when it comes to being rescued from particular enemies, you need to show your clean hands to God and say, I didn't do that. I may not be a good guy, but they're after me unrighteously, so get me out of this. What that means is that when you then read a prayer about the enemy that might say something like, Lord, they're trying to kill me, will you deal with them? It doesn't mean that only Jesus can pray that, because it isn't saying that David is perfectly righteous. He's saying that he's been falsely accused. It doesn't mean that David was self-righteous and deluded. He knew he was a sinner. In fact, in Psalm 41, he at the same time says that he's righteous and that he needs his sins forgiven. The two go together. He is saying, in this thing, I plead not guilty. But it also means, I think, for our generation, that you don't get to say to God, because I'm a victim, get me out of this. Because David shows us to say, I'm definitely a victim. They're chasing me. They're like lions. They're going to tear me apart. But only if I didn't do what they say do I ask you to get me out of it. Otherwise, let them catch me.